Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Alex Show TV. This is episode 354 from September the 9th of the year 2024. Today is a Monday, and we come back to Isabella Greene. We go with the second part, the second set of 3 shows on Isabella Greene. Amazing work, amazing information, amazing wisdom. And this one I'm very fond of, not because Isabella and me kind of agree. I think I have a more harsh position on psychedelics than her that makes them a little bit neutral. For me, they're not recommended. They're not an option, basically, and I'm going to share my opinion, my feelings as always. And again, you can agree or disagree. That's perfectly fine. And you can do so if you like on the comments on an email, hey@thealexshowtv, or just, disagree. But my opinion is sustained by my intuition and the information I've gathered on psychedelics, that they're just not an option, okay? I'm not saying they're horrible or anything like that. It's just for what they are supposed to help, which is a spiritual growth and enhancement, raising vibration, all of those things I hear on psychedelics, discovering who you are and stuff like that. And I'm going to start with a little story on psychedelics. Fortunately, there was a friend of a friend. I didn't know him very well, to be honest. Basically, spoke to him a few times, but he was a very good friend of a very good friend of mine. So I kind of knew his story. This person unfortunately had cancer, advanced cancer on the stomach. We all know cancer on the stomach, on the liver, on the pancreas, on those organs is quite difficult. It's quite difficult. You actually are able to beat it, air quotes beat it. And this person had an advanced form, stage 4. So he had months apparently to live. But the story is that he was very upset in a way. I felt the way the story was shared to me. He wanted to know what caused the cancer. And especially he wanted to know if someone else, the vibration, the energy of someone else caused this. And that's apparently the thing. So he went into psychedelics, okay? He went into psychedelics quite a bit. And unfortunately, I don't know what happened there. He apparently didn't find what he was looking for. But to go into psychedelics so close to your passing, your transcending, which is such an important stage, I have shared with you so much, especially in the last 40 shows, 30 shows, that death is something we need to look at, in the sense that we need to prepare for it, in the sense that maybe we need to try and ask for intuition, for help, to understand we have choices. And even on the first set of Isabella Greene shows a month ago, on reincarnation and all that, is basically what I'm trying to say, that death is so important. So I understand it makes it very difficult with stage 4 cancer, stomach cancer, probably very painful and that. But you really are not giving yourself a chance, you're not making any favors to yourself by going into psychedelics, ayahuasca and that kind of stuff. I think he went, and the ceremonies and all that. Okay. I'm not saying it's the devil. I'm not saying it's cold. I'm not saying it's darkness. I'm not saying any of that. For me, it's just something I totally want to stay away with. That's what my intuition tells me. And so apparently a lot of people want to find a discovery of who you are when that's available for you. Very easy. Just ask the universe, and trust me, it will come. The universe will show you the way to discover who you truly are. Okay. And you will start getting memories back, and everything will start working without need of this kind of air quotes tools, or this kind of products. Some say, well, they come from nature, they have to be good. Well, one thing I have is, I've shared many times the story that I honestly totally resonate with a story that was shared with me, that mold, fungi, basically what you're seeing in the screen, mold is a little bit different. And all of these fungi-based psychedelics, they really alter us so much. They really rile us up so much, because they're not from here. They're not from planet Earth. They're not from this solar system. They're not from this galaxy. So you might have noticed how mold grows in darkness, in damp, dark places, doesn't like light at all. Also, fungi out there in the wilderness, they usually also look for shade from the sun. They don't like the sun. I'm not saying that the sun destroys fungi immediately, but they don't like it. You look at it, they don't like it. Also, you might notice how fungi grow, they are on their own. They don't like to mesh with other vegetation. And some animals, I'm not saying all of them, but some animals stay totally away from them. They go and smell and say, no, I don't want this. That's nature, universe given intuition, okay? Or saying this is not for you. The effect it does on humans of fungi and that, it's something strange because I share many times I'm basically allergic to mushrooms, okay? I had mushrooms once in my life and I almost died. It was with a pizza. I was very young. I was at a party and there were only mushroom pizzas and I was taking them away because I've always rejected them through intuition. I'm not saying I'm smart or wise. I'm just sharing the truth here. I always, whenever I saw mushrooms at a gathering, having lunch with someone, I will always, even there's a reaction that I don't even want to be near them. I don't want to even smell them. Okay. So that time I forgot to take a couple of mushrooms off the pizza. And I walked the next day and I felt horrible. I wanted to go to the hospital. I threw up a few times. It was my body rejecting it. And I'm talking of 2 mushrooms. Okay. There are a lot of people that eat portobellos. And I know it's a huge thing worldwide. I respect it. I don't say anything. I certainly don't say anything when someone is doing it in front of me. But when someone offers, for example, at a not family gathering, they know about that. But sometimes in friends gathering that they also know about that, they forget and they offer portobellos or mushrooms. I immediately say, no, that's not for me. Okay. So the story, sorry, I still have a cough. It hasn't left me totally. The story is that these kind of beings, let's call it like that, which are second density, by the way, they come from a different solar system. That's why they reject our sun. Our sun doesn't help, but actually kind of wants to destroy it. And I don't want to say they're evil. It's really a spectrum. It's so difficult to say, and it's going to sound very funny how mushrooms are evil. No, they're not. They're just not good for us. Let's just leave it at that. They are not for us, okay? They create an effect that some feel is medicinal, some say it's spiritual, some say it will give you hallucinations. Well, because you're pushing it, okay? You're pushing it. And by the way, someone asked me through a personal email, thank you for why the cough and why it has to do with reflux. Okay, I suffer from a very bad case of acid reflux, so I get these stages of 1 or 2 months where I get this dry cough. It's not related to the lungs. If I don't talk, I don't cough. If I don't eat, I don't cough. It's just a little bit there in my throat. The reflux will cause that, and when I have to speak for a show or something like that, or with someone, I just coughing. So I apologize. The software that I use for improving the sound takes that away and makes it less annoying. So we have 2 videos from Isabella Greene to watch. When she has a more central position on psychedelics, she basically says they're not recommended. That's it. For me, it's usual untouchable. That's my position. Okay. Let's watch it together.
On the psychedelics and what they do to consciousness, because they sneak into a realm. I've talked about this on the show a few times, either psychedelics, DMT, ayahuasca, psilocybin, mushrooms. There's a list of them. All of these things do kind of, I call it kind of like crashing through the door. It's a pretty violent way, as opposed to the yogic way of going about it, which is a much slower, longer. But once you get to that top of the mountain, if you will, in that practice, you can come and go as you please, because you're kind of invited into the door. Where you take a psychedelic, you're kind of not invited to the door and you're just crashing the party. And it's pretty rough, as many people who've taken ayahuasca and these things have said. So what's your experience and what's your thoughts on it?
My thoughts on it is that is produced by Earth. And Earth supplies a certain level of assistance for us to see into the other side. But these are plant and fungi spirits, and also frog medicine, all that. So that the plant, animal, and fungi spirits. And so what they can show you is within a certain limit. That's where the earth spirit can go. And so this is where you go with it. For most people, it's much more than they can do on their own. And so that opens the door. But it's enough to have that door opened once or twice. majority of people lose the ability to trust in their own capacity to get there on their own, and then develop dependency on these substances. And so the experiences become a limitation instead of an assistance. So I remember a speech of one of the Mayan elders at one of the festivals, and he mentioned the following. He said that shamanic medicines came in when earth plane or human consciousness was very dense, way denser than right now. And so the extreme measures were required for people to get anywhere. But he said exactly this. He said, the time has passed, and you no longer have to poison the body to get to the soul. That is something that stands out to me. And then another thing is, you're really taking, if you take ayahuasca, you're taking the spirit of the jungle and letting it wreak havoc inside your physical form. And very often people who do that, they come to me and I look at their energy field and it's full of damage and meridians all messed up. And some of these spirits are still stuck in their form and they keep doing it, because they keep trying to get somewhere. I don't believe that these offerings from the earth can help with psychological problems or can assist much. They can assist a little bit, but I also know someone that is my colleague, and she mentioned that she worked with an ayahuasca group, meaning the people who were doing ayahuasca for 10 years in ceremonies, and she said she stopped working with them as a healer because she said there was no emotional progress with that group.
Okay, that was a long support video because there's a lot of stuff there. I hope I remember everything, but I want to start with this. This is the most important for me information from that support video. When she was talking of the Mayan elder that shared with her that this shamanic, yes, I've shared about shamanic a lot through the earth, basically. Shamanic energies, shamanic ways. If you go with a shaman, you're going through the earth, which is nothing wrong with that. The earth is beautiful. You're going to a different density, okay? You're going to a dense energy. So I don't have a problem with shamans. I feel there are different ways of achieving the same or better ways of achieving what shamanic ways achieve, okay? And Mayans are quite shamanic, okay? As the story she was sharing, when these tools, this shamanic medicine or something like that, ayahuasca and that came a long time ago, we had a different vibration. We have a different density. We're different than right now. So maybe I still don't approve. Okay, I still don't suggest it, but maybe at that time made a little bit more sense than now. Okay, but he said something incredible that Isabella shared, that we no longer need to poison the body to get to the spirit. That's amazing. It's not an exact quote. She said it a little bit differently, but that's what I gather. You no longer need to poison this, because as I shared, the story that fungi, especially fungi, mold and fungi, come from a different place in the universe, in a different density, they need something else. I'm not saying it's a spectrum. I'm not saying they're evil, okay? But they certainly do have such a strong effect, particularly in human beings and all living beings, because as I shared, if you look in nature, fungi, they are their own pack, okay? Other species, they stay away sometimes. You see it. I've seen it. For example, a little fungi growing in a tree and there's no vegetation around it. Look at it, please. I'm not making this up. It's like the rest of a more natural earth vegetation is kind of staying away from that because they know better. So definitely, in my humble opinion, psychedelics, you don't need these kind of things. She also shared a couple of things, and I should probably take notes on such long videos, but I'm trying to remember from memory. She shared that the group that was doing 10 years of ayahuasca ceremonies, which is a very deep, dense ceremony, okay? I haven't experienced it. I'm not, you will have to put a gun to my head to do it. That's how strong I'm against this, okay? But 10 years of doing them, and there was no improvement at all, okay? So, and the other one was when she shared that in her practice, people that have done these psychedelics and that, all the meridians, because you're getting the jungle, okay? And the jungle, it's a second density. And again, it's earth, is beautiful, but it's such a mixture of energies, of emotions that you're getting all that through the psychedelics. And that's why I will not recommend. Again, I have a very strong no, okay? She's more neutral, like saying you don't need it. And I agree, you don't need it. You certainly don't need psychedelics to get to your spirit. No way. And I will go a little bit beyond by saying you don't need the ceremonies and all that. You need to do it. The best way, in my opinion, is, of course, with wisdom from someone like Isabella Greene. But just trust yourself to the universe and open yourself to wanting to know who you are. Because you are so much more than just a human, okay? Which doesn't make it wrong. Being a human is beautiful, but you are so much more. We're very suppressed in this reality just to go with the physical ways. And going with psychedelics and mushrooms is going through the shamanic ways, which is going through the physical, okay? Through the earth, through the physical. So that's why shamans kind of reject everything else of saying there are no guides, there are no other civilizations, there's nothing out there because everything is through the earth, okay? They have discredited all the other options. And if you look at it, someone like Isabel is very open by saying, sure, shamanic ways are there. It's just we don't need it. We have transcended that density, okay? And even when we were very dense thousands of years ago, there was still the universal way, the contact of the universe, understanding who you are. Imagine just the power you will get by understanding who you are, that you're a spirit in this life. You're not going to be a spirit when you die. You are currently a spirit with a body being a human being. That's what you are. But it's not for me to tell it. It's not for me to tell you who you are. It's for you to discover who you are, okay? So let's watch the second support video, and I'll give you my final thoughts.
So heard recently at a live event, someone asked this question, and the person was channeling. So channeling is 6-dimensional being, and that channeler, or the being, sort of the channeler, said that these are 2-dimensional. Second D, that the plant and animal spirits, ayahuasca spirit, that's a second D, 2D. So you take it into your form, the spirit that's even lower than 3D that we have here. But it can still open, like if you take animals, for example, or plants are very conscious, right?
Mm-hmm,
They respond to your frequency, they respond to your state of being. I know that I see the plants in my healing room and they're all just going through the roof, they love it, that state of being. Or if I put them in a room where I never go, then they're not feeling so good. So plants are very conscious, but it was a new thing for me to hear that it's only 2-dimensional, like that they are 2-dimensional consciousness. But well, that's what I literally just heard that a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, so that was a great support video, and the interesting part of that is basically sharing that psychedelics and everything you get through nature is second D. Again, it's so confusing, densities and dimensions, and I want to thank Chris Harrison, which I had on the show like a couple of months ago. He gave me this insight to believe, I think both things are operating at the same time. And that's a little bit the confusion there. Some just see dimensions, and the whole story of the 5D and that's a dimension. And some people see densities. And in the way, my new outlook on this is, for example, we're here right now in the 3rd dimension. And yes, that goes against what I said 3-4 months ago on the shows on densities and dimensions. We're in the 3rd dimension. I called it the 3rd density at the time. And we have several densities inside this dimension. For example, the first density will be something like a rock or a drop of water or a mountain, something that is not recognized as being alive and usually doesn't have any movement, okay? For example, a rock, if you don't move it, it's going to stay there forever. And you might remember the story of Jesus Christ that is being told, that not the one you see in the Bible, but the other stories of Jesus Christ, that he will look at rocks and in such compassion, in such dimensioning, okay? And because he knew it was something alive, okay? Of the first dimension, of the first density, sorry, that it's very confusing. I confuse the terms all the time. Then the second density is something exactly like a fungi, like your dog, like a fish, like a tomato plant, something like that. That's the second density, okay? And then the third density is a conscious being like us, okay? I believe in planet Earth, and I share it many times. If there are more than third density species will be at war at each other due to lack of maturity. Okay, similar to what you've seen on the movie or the series of movies. I forgot. I'm sorry. I'm getting this from memory. Planet of the Apes. Sorry about that. And I suggest the original ones, the ones from the 70s. They're excellent. Five movies, I believe, which basically, through a process, the apes became a third density species from a second density species, which you have the gift of being conscious. Okay, that's something very important. I don't believe right now at this point. That could change in the future, and I could be wrong of everything I say, by the way. That, for example, our dogs or cats or horses, fish, a plant is aware. Okay, they're having a more basic experience. But the point here is, with psychedelics, you are, in a way, using these energies, these very dense energies from the second density being basically similar to you eating a piece of meat or you eating a piece of, fruit or something. Exactly the same, second density as well. But they are not as dense with energies. They are not full of these energies from the jungle, from the shamanic ways, from the earth. For some reason, psychedelics gather all these things, and it's such a rush of this that through the hallucination that you're having a spiritual experience, you think you have a spiritual experience. Okay, so for me, my suggestion, you do as you like, and there are some people that swear psychedelics that they're wonderful and they're a key part of the enlightenment and the ascension of vibration and all that. I disagree. Okay, I'm not saying I'm right. I just disagree totally that you need that. You certainly don't need it, and I don't suggest it at all. Okay, at all. And I have a total rejection for it. I think I'll probably have such a strong case that if someone forces me psychedelics or anything like that, I will probably die. Okay, like that, physically die. Yes, and if I had a plate of mushrooms, I'll probably die. Okay, that's my rejection to these kind of things. Okay, and again, my intuition tells me they're not for you. They're not for humans. They're from somewhere else. They're a different energy. That's why they are so strong in a way. And you think about it, makes a little sense. So I hope you enjoyed the show, the fourth on the Isabella Greene series. We have 2 more to go on this second set. 2 more to go, and amazing stuff. This for me is not that I'm a good or bad creator or anything like that. Please don't get like, it's nothing through that. It's just the topics are so wonderful. And now that I've done the second series, I'm gonna try to get, I'm pre-recording this, by the way, a long time before September 9th, okay? But I'm gonna, now that I put the 6 shows live, I'm gonna try to reach out to Isabella to see if she's interested on a collaboration. And I hope she does, because that will be amazing for me. That will be an incredible chat for me personally. I will enjoy you incredibly. So I'm gonna do that. And again, no promises, but it has worked out recently with Peter Panagor, with Chris Harrison. I also had Ben from the Why You Are You channel. The collaborations are working much better than a year ago that, I was, maybe I was doing something wrong, reaching out or something like that. But, things are working much better. So I'm very happy and with the illusion of maybe someday having Isabella Greene on the show for a chat. All right. Thank you very much. And have a great day. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breakthroughs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient for others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice, true violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions serve only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It is very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you would like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website, www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very nice day.